Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome and welcome back to Cover Brand. I'm Ethan Decker, and today I've got Christian Helms on the show. Christian, how are you?
Doing great, Ethan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I hope you've got as much air conditioning as I do.
I do. I'm back from many weeks of no air conditioning, and it's cranked just as low as it can go here.
Right. Well, we're gonna need a lot of it for the next few weeks. I think it's gonna be a hot summer.
You're right.
In the Mountain West. I'm calling from Boulder. You're down in Austin, Texas. Is this correct? Okay. Well, what cover song did you bring from Austin, Texas?
So the song that I brought is a cover by Spoon of the last track on David Bowie's last album, which is titled "I Can't Give Everything Away." And the original is so moving, especially considering that album was timed to release just after David's passing.
Wow.
But what Britt and Alex from Spoon did to it is just, it's even more reverent and chilling and just gorgeous and sort of achingly beautiful.
That's a lot to unpack there. First of all,
Yeah.
it's great choice. I got to say, a great choice. David Bowie's last album that he recorded while he was dying and then was released after he died.
Yep.
And this was I think it was the final track on that album.
It was indeed.
I Can't Give Everything Away. Oh my God. It just gives me chills just to think about this. But then Spoon covered it a few years later, or how many, do you know, was it right on the heels or was it a few years later?
Maybe a year or two ago. So
Okay.
They took their time with it, but it was a nice reminder of just how beautiful that Bowie album is.
Wow. And their version, how does their version differ than the Bowie, from the Bowie
It's
version?
more sparse. It's less produced.
Okay.
And it's really, I don't even think there are drums involved. I think it's just Alex on piano and Britt with vocals. So it's pretty stripped down.
Okay.
But I think that's part of its charm, right?
Right. It's not, here's one thing that sometimes bugs me about cover songs is when people take a cover song and then they just make like a moody acoustic guitar version of it. And like that's supposed to unleash and release all of this feeling from the song.
It
But
does
you can
the
take
opposite.
any song and just make a moody, stupid acoustic solo guitar version of it. But that's not, you're saying they didn't strip it down that much.
No,
Like they still have a
Oh
band.
gosh, no. There's no cheese ball at all to it.
Okay.
My kids are obsessed with this ramen and sushi restaurant here in town, and that's what they play constantly, and it drives me insane. The food's great, drinks
moody?
are great, but they play
Yeah.
the bad acoustic moody covers that just would
Yeah.
ruin the song for you if you locked into that.
You know, like an example, I don't know if you know Gary Jules' cover of Mad World by
Yes, I've heard
Tears for
that.
Fears. And it's a moody piano version.
Yeah.
But yes, it's supposed to be so emotional and emo, but for me, sometimes it's just like a cheap hack. Whereas you're saying this is not what Spoon did.
No, Spoon did something just absolutely brilliant and beautiful.
Nice. Okay, well, I like Spoon. I love Bowie. I have to go listen to this version. I Can't Give Everything Away by Spoon, cover of a David Bowie tune. I'm going to put that on the Cover Brand cover song playlist on Spotify as well.
Awesome.
So we've got the whole playlist of every song we've ever talked about on the show.
I got to dig into that. That sounds great.
So sorry, not sorry. It's going to totally distract you from your job. And all your plans for today are now shot.
My Spotify year wrap last year put me as my listening age was 82 because I can't listen to anything with lyrics while I'm working.
True.
And so it's all hard bop jazz. That's all it is. Just jazz, which I love.
Nice.
It's great to work to. But
Hard bop.
Spotify thinks I'm an
Yeah.
elderly person.
Well, all you listen to is Coltrane and Artie Shep. So there you go.
And Grant Green and Miles and everybody. Yeah.
Yep. I love that stuff too. My Spotify Wrapped put me as a 13-year-old girl. I
You
had
have
Sabrina
kids.
Carpenter, Haim. No, this is my fault. This is my own
you.
doing. I have an eclectic music taste, but last
Same.
year my high repeat was Haim It was Sabrina Carpenter. It was Billie Eilish, uh, and probably some Taylor Swift too. Like I have the musical taste of a 13-year-old teenage girl who also happens to love Lake Street Dive, the Beatles, jazz from all
Yeah.
eras, classical music, and other weird stuff. But yeah, go figure.
All those artists you name are very talented. So
Yeah.
I don't think you should get any flack for that.
Okay. Well, I can't give everything away. David Bowie, Spoon. We'll get that queued up to listen to right after the show, and we'll be right back with more of Christian Helms. If you've been jonesing to bring brand science to the rest of your team or your company, you are in luck. Applied Brand Science is now launching an online training program on the laws and levers of brand science so that you and your team can apply the lessons of brand science to grow your business. It's affordable, it's modular, it's online, and it's all at appliedbrandscience.com. Welcome and welcome back. Christian, it is so great to have you on the show. Let me give people a brief introduction before we jump into what your business issues are. Christian, you run Helms Workshop, which you've run for 15 or 16 years.
16.
It's
yes,
a
sir.
branding and marketing agency. You've worked on quite a few brands, including Southern Comfort. Is that correct?
That is very correct. Yes.
Okay. And you also do quite a bit with personal branding and personal brand strategy experiences, given your own experience of going through kind of some crippling physical challenges over the years. So I'm eager to hear more about that. I'm eager to hear more about the clients you work with and the brand problems that they struggle with. What did I miss? I know you speak a lot as well. You've spoken at like South by Southwest and AIGA and Brand New and the How Conference. Do you travel a lot? You get around the world these days?
A good bit. Yeah. We were just over in London for some work and then bounce around the country every couple of months to different brands that we're working on. I think we've worked in almost every state in the U.S. at this point.
Okay.
We nailed down Hawaii last year, so that was pretty solid. But we haven't done
Nice.
Alaska. There's some kind of Midwestern stuff we haven't quite hit yet that is not high on my list, but we'll see.
No, some places you don't have to go to for a little while, for
Yeah,
sure.
big time.
Well, then let's talk. Let's talk about some of the issues you've seen in the land of marketing and branding that keep coming up over and over with clients. I mean, you've like you said, you've worked across large clients, small clients. I know you've worked B2B and B2C. What are the recurring problems and malaises you hear from your clients?
One that we encounter fairly often because of the breadth of work we do in terms of size. So like we work with Nabisco and Disney, but then we also work with small, startups that are first-time founders. And when you're doing the small startup first-time founder things, my job, as much as building the brand and the voice and all those fun things, is just educating them on how brands work. They come in very green. They don't understand branding. We have a client right now that I'm still not positive understands what we're doing. It's going to turn out great, but yeah, they're a 100-year-old barbecue family restaurant,
Okay.
and led by a guy in his late 70s, who is brilliant and a hell of a storyteller. But I'm not positive he understands exactly what we're doing. But he's
Right.
trusting us, so all good. So we run
That's
into that pretty
common.
often.
Yeah.
And my job is to just help educate, to use the simplest language possible, like I'm explaining it to my mom, what we're doing, what it's going to do, why the strategy is so important, how it
Right.
shows up in the work, and how from the first work we do together all the way to the final touch point, that thread runs through all of it. So
Right.
helping them understand that is big. To flip that coin on the other side, when we work with giant, international corporations, it's almost the opposite, where you're fighting against overthinking it sometimes. I mean, you were in that world
Oh.
forever.
Oh Lord.
So
Yeah, I know this. I know this pain very well.
trying to
Yeah.
jam a brilliant idea through that much bureaucracy can be challenging. So it's unique to get both sides of that, and it's honestly refreshing, because if you've been working with Disney for X amount of time and then you work with a founder who's so excited and not jaded and so just passionate about what they're doing, it's refreshing.
And those founders who are business managers and business owners and don't speak and think in the world of marketing and branding. They don't say, well, are we increasing our salience or are we increasing our relevance?
Yeah.
And how do you measure salience versus relevance? And does this both get covered by top of mind awareness?
Yeah.
And all of the parsing that the large corporate marketers can do.
Yeah, with the founders, it's less of an intellectual, logical exercise, and it's more emotional and what hits them in the gut, which is really, at the end of the day, if you put a brand out there that's good and compelling and strong, people don't need to break it down intellectually. They should feel it in their heart and gut, and that should override their head. They should just love it and want to be a part of it, and maybe not even understand why. That means we did our job.
Yeah. One of the metaphors I use, the elephant and the rider. Have you heard of this?
One.
Okay, so have you heard of System 1 and System 2 thinking?
Yes.
So Daniel Kahneman won like a Nobel Prize in economics for his work, even though he's a psychologist. And he's got this theory that the brain has two systems, metaphorically, not actually in different parts. It's not like the amygdala or the lizard brain crap. But it's metaphorically, we have a System 1 brain, which is fast, responds quickly, is instinctual, is mostly unconscious. And unfortunately, a lot of people also stereotype it as emotional, which it's not necessarily, because System 1 is also your expertise, right? Your fast, your unconscious responses are things like driving a car. Or if you're Serena Williams, it's crushing people on the tennis court. And you're doing that with quick, intuitive, subconscious reactions and actions. And it's not emotional, right, to be the world's best tennis player. Or it's not emotional to drive your car and quickly hit the brakes when something jumps out in front of you. But it's instinctual. It's unconscious. And then you've got the System 2, which is the slow, and that's why he calls it thinking fast and slow. It's the slow, deliberate thinking. When I ask you, what's 16 times 15? And you have to actually think it through.
Exactly.
That's System 2. So the metaphor comes from this guy, Jonathan Haidt, who's a psychologist. And the metaphor is that System 1 is like a big elephant in your brain, in your mind, that's big and lumbering but spooks quickly, but also is a wise, smart creature, but often has a mind of its own. And then the rider is this puny human on the back who thinks it's in control. But you know what's funny? I even asked a group recently. I was doing a training in Geneva, Switzerland. And I asked the group, how many of you have ever ridden an elephant? And a lot of hands went up. I was like, geez, Louise, I guess we got a lot of people who like to go on safari here. And I said, well, who's in control when you're riding that elephant? And they just, all of them belted out, the elephant. And that's the same with our kind of intuitive thinking. Our System 1 mind is the elephant mind, really is in control. And the hard part is usually not getting the sole proprietor barbecue owner to understand that. It's getting the expert MBA Disney executive to understand that they have to connect with the elephant, that they have to be relevant to the elephant. And that sounds like what you struggle with too.
I think so. I think every agency to a degree struggles with that. And it's not a struggle. It's a challenge, right? It's not insurmountable. It means a little bit of extra work, a little bit of extra conversation, slowing down, taking time to explain, which is really what everybody should be doing anyway. So
sure. Well, what are examples of things you have found that help you with that conversation? Like for me, it's this kind of elephant rider metaphor, and then I say, well, if 90% of our thinking is the elephant, is instinctual, intuitive, unconscious, it's the symbols, it's the color, it's the feel of the thing. If 90% of our thinking is the elephant, why is 90% of your marketing effort addressed to the rider?
Yeah.
And then I see the eyes get big, and I realize I've finally broken through. What are some of the techniques or tricks that you have?
You hit the nail on the head with metaphor. You can connect and kind of come in through the side door with that. One I use often when there are too many stakeholders in a conversation is the ice cream party analogy, which you probably know.
What's that?
Well, you put 12 kids in a room, you say, hey, we're going to get free ice cream, but you have to agree on a flavor. It's going to be chocolate every time, right?
Uh-huh.
It's never going to be something interesting like Rocky Road or Jamoke Almond Fudge or one of the Ben and Jerry's flavors. And when building
Right.
brands, that's what we want. It's something unique and
Right.
original and different that no one's ever seen. We don't want vanilla. We don't
Strawberry.
want chocolate. Yeah. No.
What's the one? Strawberry balsamic.
Done. See, that's
Right.
perfect. Yeah, exactly.
You'll never get that.
And
So
then
then,
go ahead. Go ahead.
does that mean you hand out little party hats for them? So they put the little birthday party snow cone hats on, and you say, okay, I want you all to agree on this.
I have joked to clients that they get free ice cream if they approve first round work, which has happened at times, but never when I offered the ice cream. So
Oh, yeah. Have you ever delivered on the ice cream?
not yet, but I've definitely started making that joke. We have a thing at the agency where if a design team sells in work with the first round with no major revisions, we have a pizza party. And so
Nice.
I just started offering that to clients too, because people love free pizza. They love free ice cream. It's not
And
work.
have you delivered the pizzas?
Absolutely. We had
Oh, good.
an employee who was working remotely until he moved down to Austin, and I had to figure out how to deliver pizza in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. So yeah, I sent him a pizza remotely.
You know, I love that. I think that those little touches that surprise our own clients are exactly the kind of thing we always tell clients to do with their brands,
Yeah,
right? The surprise and delight, so to speak,
absolutely. Yeah, the
and
unexpected.
unexpected. Do you do that in other ways with your own clients?
Oh, a million different ways.
Give me a couple stories.
In terms of surprise and delight, or in terms of metaphor.
Oh, surprise and delight with your clients.
When I was very early in my career and probably more confident than I should have been, I wore the logo I was going to present on a T-shirt to the meeting. So, like, you
Okay.
are fully invested in, if I don't sell this thing, I'm going to look like an idiot.
Uh-huh.
So that's one.
That's great. Did you
I-
wait, you didn't bring t-shirts for everybody?
no, just me.
Okay.
Just me. I should have brought T-shirts
Okay.
for everybody.
All right.
But we've
All right.
done little things like that, things to make it feel more real, you know? Brand can be so abstract in the beginning, and some clients can't. You and I, it's like we get the brief and we can already see what the brand could be. Not every client can envision that. And so
Yeah.
if you show them tangible examples, it will make it more real in their minds and get them excited.
Yeah. So have you shown up to meetings with food and beverage as well? Like not just
Sure.
after the first round?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Breakfast tacos are big here in Austin, and everybody
that's
loves their
right.
breakfast tacos. So just have those on hand if you've got an early morning meeting.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, it sounds like you have a natural tendency to humanize business meetings.
Absolutely. We're very personal.
And that's probably well received and kind of not accepted or anticipated, but at least understood by the local clients you're talking about, or the southern clients you're talking about, like a barbecue chain. It's not as intuitively understood by some of these larger corporations.
But sometimes it is. You mentioned Southern Comfort in the intro.
Okay.
We were up against some just heavy hitter big agencies for that global rebrand that we did forever ago. We were way too small to be awarded it. I knew that going in. And so I was very personal in the way I put together my pitch and presented who we are and what we would do. And they chose us over these giant agencies back when we were
Nice.
small and scrappy because, to quote Chris Bonbright, who was the head of research for Brown Forman at the time, he said, we got to hire these guys before somebody else does,
Oh, sweet.
And they
Well-
totally gambled on us and we nailed it.
What was one of the personal touches you used?
I
in that
told a lot of
pitch?
stories. I told a lot of stories, behind the scenes stuff with brands, less sort of presenting, strategy and execution and results, and more about the emotional connection, the getting beyond the functional benefits of this thing and getting into the personal and social benefits, right? Like how it
Right,
makes people
right.
feel about themselves, what it says about them to other people in their minds. And just stories, interesting stories behind the projects that were funny or quirky or something that they probably don't hear in meetings very often.
Right.
Because I
Right.
didn't think we were getting it. It's kind of like an actor
Right.
going in for an audition that they don't care about. They always get it
Assuming,
because they're so
yeah,
loose.
yeah.
And that was
They
me.
assume
And
they're not going to get it.
I left that meeting and said, I've really enjoyed this. And, I hope at some point down the road we can work on something together. And I was like, maybe we'll get one of their little fledgling brands that they don't care about. No, they
Hmm.
gave us the global rebrand of Southern Comfort. It was wild.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, that makes me think of, I think it was this biologist named, biologist and professor, Steven Pinker, who wrote about how our brains or our minds tend to classify things that are family and friendship and that kind of relationship versus a more commercial relationship.
Hmm.
Like when you go into a
Oh, yeah.
store holding cash and you're going to buy something and things are going to be transactional, you act in a certain way. But you don't have that same transactional attitude when you're making dinner for your kids
Right.
or when you're hanging out with a friend, right? And even if you have to split the bill, the feeling of getting together is not a transactional one where you're trying to maximize what you get
Yeah.
and minimize what you give. And I think that some of these little habits or tricks or just ways you behave help in those meetings turn it from a transactional meeting into more
Yeah.
of a social meeting.
Well, one of the great tricks for that is just to make them laugh. Like
Yeah.
laughter is agreeing with you. They have agreed
Yes.
with what you said. They have reacted in a
Oh, that's
positive way, and it sets a
yeah.
tone and it's more fun.
Yeah.
Be a little silly at times. If you're really good at what you do and you can deliver the goods, you can be a little silly at times because there's the underpinning, confidence that we'll knock this out of the park.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You're right. A lot of folks either new to business or kind of stifled
Oh,
by
yeah.
heavy business communities feel like they have to be serious to be professional.
Yeah. That was me
Right.
early in my career. I was flying blind and I was using all the brand speak and just,
Yeah.
terminology after terminology to convince them that I knew what I was doing. At this
Yeah.
point, I know what I'm doing, so I don't do any of that.
Right.
The proof is in the pudding at this point, thank goodness. So I don't have
Yeah.
to convince everybody we can do this thing and we can enjoy the
Yeah.
process.
No, it does. It does show through. It exudes in how you just behave yourself and how you, what's the word? Comport
Yeah,
yourself,
there
right?
you go.
Um, body language, all that body language stuff, which
Oh,
is,
that's key. It's key.
yeah,
We
yeah.
have a boot client that we worked with years ago, and I think we
Boots
won that.
like cowboy boots.
Oh yes, cowboy boots. We've done a couple of
Okay.
cowboy boot brands. We were in
All
Austin.
right.
Come on.
I'm
Um,
just checking.
but the client who became a friend, and afterwards, I said, I would love to just hear a little bit more about why you chose us over these other three agencies. And he was like, because you just seemed like it was already your project. Like
Right.
you didn't sit forward and interrupt. You sat back with your arm out and you just kind of
Mm,
talked and your legs are crossed and you were comfortable. And he was like, you were like Matthew McConaughey in there. And I was like, first of all, I am not like Matthew McConaughey. Um, but it was a hell of a compliment. And it reminded me
that's
that, like,
great.
be comfortable, if,
Yeah.
and at this point, we've done this for so long. If we get it, great. If not, great. That means you're not our client. So you
It's
either are
true.
or you aren't, and it'll go the way it needs to go. So just
That's a
relax.
well. First of all, that's a great position to be in. So kudos to you for getting there. But
Very
second,
fortunate.
it's it's a fun. That's also a fun metaphor I use actually for clients who don't get brand.
Hmm.
Especially B2B, like you're talking to
Hmm.
construction companies or financial services firms
Yeah.
or professional organizations like attorneys. And they think marketing and branding is a waste of time,
Hmm.
that it's all about relationships
Hmm.
and that it's all about reputation. And a shorthand I've gotten for them is I say, do you carefully pick what to wear when you go to your meetings with your clients? Do
That's
do you
great.
pick a good suit or for construction folks, it's great because you can say, do you wear different clothes talking to your bankers than talking to the construction crew? And they
That's
say,
great.
absolutely. When I go to the shop floor, I wear my jeans, I wear my shitty boots. right? But when I'm going to talk to the bankers, I put on my nice suit. I said, that is branding. You might not think of it as branding because it doesn't have a mascot and a logo, but you are cultivating the image you want people
Yeah.
to have of you. That's
You're
what branding is.
communicating in a way that, again, they don't have to intellectually break down. They immediately get it.
Bingo.
And
They
when
get
it's
it.
off, when you show up to meet with the construction guys in the field in a suit and wingtips, like
Yeah.
it is jarring, you know?
Yeah.
An
Yeah.
analogy I use often is architecture, where you
Okay.
can walk into one space and say, this is a place to curl up with a book and a big cup of coffee and just like
Hmm.
chill.
Yeah.
You walk into another space and it's like, this is where I should grab drinks with friends. Like, this feels like a really social place. And
Right.
then the flip side of that coin is you walk into different places and you're like, this doesn't feel right. Something's wrong here. I can't point out why this doesn't work, but I'm uncomfortable. Maybe it smells weird. I don't know. But
Yep.
the environment tells you a story as to what it is and how to use it, right? Um,
Right.
it's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Those details tell that story. So,
Absolutely.
so when it comes to the Helms workshop, your own brand, your own company, you, I'm sure, have also looked at how you cultivate the right image, the right identity, the right feel
Hmm.
for your own company.
Yeah.
Um,
For
what are
us,
some of
it's
the things you found that work well?
so it's internal and external. So
Hmm.
externally, we put great work out into the world. That's number one. We do a lot of thought leadership and, LinkedIn sharing and education through that to kind of establish authority and to benefit folks who are learning about brand.
Okay.
We tell silly stories sometimes, as I mentioned, just to
Hmm.
kind of amuse and, surprise and delight. But the other side of that, and of course there's marketing and all those pieces too, but we know that
Sure.
stuff. But the other side of that is just making sure that we're communicating who we are, what we're about, why it matters, what our purpose is internally, and
Hmm.
aligning our team with a culture that is supportive and high skill set, low ego.
Yeah.
Absolutely, all in this together. Fiercely protective of our team, all of
Yeah.
those things. So, how we're seen externally versus internally may be different. I'm not positive on that, but I know
Hmm.
how much I love the culture that we've built and how fiercely my team protects it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we get enough compliments from the work we put out in the world and those things that's positive too.
Yep. It's, the this thing about internal culture. For small organizations, I think that it's hard sometimes for them to see how actively it has to be managed or built.
Hmm.
Like they just kind of assume, oh, well, I just set the tone.
Yeah.
But then for
Oh
large
God, that was me
organizations,
in the beginning for sure.
right,
Yeah. And
right,
everybody will just get it.
everyone just gets it, right.
Yeah,
And if
they
they don't
don't
get it, you're like, why don't they get it?
because you're not communicating.
Right.
Exactly.
And then for large organizations, I've really become a fan of the notion that the first campaign should be internal, even
Fantastic.
if you're rebranding or launching something external, because you do want the people internally to get it. You don't want
Yeah.
them to get motivated and inspired
Adopt it.
and
Yeah.
at least all get on the same damn page
Yeah.
so that you're all singing the same words together
Hmm. And
in
believing
chorus.
in them. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't, I let people know that I don't anticipate that internal stuff always fully shows up externally in an explicit way, but I think it kind of seeps through. It exudes,
I do too.
right?
In different ways. I think SEEP is perfect because it's like water. You can't necessarily predict the pathways, but it gets out
Yeah.
there wherever it can.
Yeah.
One of my favorite examples of just my favorite internal culture moment back in the 60s when the space race was going on,
Hmm.
President Kennedy went to visit NASA and was being given the tour and talking to the scientists and all these things. And he was walking down the hallway and he passed a guy with a mop and a broom. And he said, "Hey,
Hmm.
I'm President Kennedy. What do you do here?" And his answer was, "I'm helping to put a man on the moon."
Oh, nice.
Done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if it goes all the way down to the janitor, you are winning, man. Like you are a
Yeah, it's
team.
true.
I
Yeah.
love that analogy. I get goosebumps when I tell it, and I tell it all the time.
That's great. Yeah, it's Right. You want everyone to have some sense that they're all doing. You know what? That reminds me. I was working with a large furniture manufacturer recently, one of the big ones in the U.S.
Okay.
And well, I guess I can say it. It's Lazy Boy. And I did a couple years of work with Lazy Boy's marketing team. And one of the things that
Right.
seemed to really shift the organization was the sense that instead of brand being a thing that a few designers in the marketing team own, brand is something that everybody serves in the whole company. We all serve the brand,
Mm-hmm.
and everything we do either erodes our brand or builds our brand.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a shift in thinking because they had thought that, there's product, there's distribution, there's retail because they have stores everywhere.
Yeah.
There's sales, there's customer service, right? But a customer service call can either build or erode the perceived value of your brand.
Yeah.
The not just the quality of your showroom, but the location of your showroom can build or erode the perceived quality of your brand.
Yeah.
Which is why Rodeo Drive in Los Angeles, if you're a luxury brand, you have to have
You
an
have to
address
be there. Yeah.
on Rodeo Drive because that increases the perceived quality of your brand to be next to Prada and Gucci and Lamborghini. In Boulder, have you been to Boulder lately?
Not in a number of years.
So Pearl Street is a little walking
Mm-hmm.
strip downtown heart of Boulder. And it's got like a 5 or 10 block walking mall, pedestrian mall. There are, at my last count a few months ago, 21 flagship stores for outdoor brands.
Yeah.
Patagonia, Marmot, Moonstone, Helly Hansen. It just goes on and on. Fjallraven, right? I think Vuori might have a store there now, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
You're essentially describing South Congress here in Austin. Like,
What's the situation there?
it's exactly the same. It's all, popping up and, the cool little antique and junk shop that everybody loves so much. That thing's gone. Now it's a flagship for somebody. We've got an Hermes store here. Like,
Hermes.
yes, in Austin
God.
on
Wow.
South Congress. It's ridiculous. So we are
Wow.
seeing a lot of that. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of happening all over, unfortunately. Even my college town of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, all of the cool stuff has kind of disappeared. And
Well,
it's,
there's that. There's absolutely that. But there's also this thing of if you want to be seen a certain way, you have to have a store in a certain zip code, right? You have to, if you're
For
a
sure.
luxury brand, you have to be on Rodeo Drive. If you're an outdoor brand, apparently you need a flagship store on Pearl
Makes
Street in
sense.
Boulder.
yeah.
And some of that is just the signaling to the profession, to the business.
Yeah.
Like, have you heard about signaling theory? This is a
No,
biology
but
thing.
go for it.
All right. So this also totally explains a lot of branding and marketing and the subtle things of branding and marketing, which is, as organisms, we are constantly trying to avoid being duped, right?
Yeah.
And we're looking for what are called honest signals. So how do you trust a mate? How do you know a berry is healthy versus poisonous? How do you know whether a snake is venomous or not? And so animals signal to each other all the time. The elk's antlers is a signal of the health and vigor of the male elk, the bull elk. And then the beautiful peacock feathers are a signal to the female that the male is healthy and has good genes, right? Because if you're a sickly peacock with shitty feathers, the signal is, I don't want to mate with you.
Big time.
So tusks, chirps, little spring peepers, the frogs. That chirp is the signal of whether that's a good, healthy mate or not. So we're signaling all the time, but we're also trying to either trick each other or avoid the cost of what it really takes to make good antlers. But over time, we cue in on things that are hard to fake, right?
Exactly.
It's hard to fake a big rack of antlers because you got to grow 40 pounds of bone in 2 months during the rut season. And it's got to be a nice symmetrical, 20-point rack, Boone and Crockett kind of stuff. And so when it comes to being on Rodeo Drive, or when it comes to making sure your outdoor brand is seen as a real adult outdoor brand, maybe you're new. There's one called Himali. I don't know if you've heard of
I don't know
Himali.
Molly.
Himali. It's a new outdoor brand. It's in some ways a lot like Patagonia and North Face and Marmot and all the others. But for them to signal to the outdoor world that we're a real legit brand, they needed a store on Pearl Street.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they get any foot traffic or not, whether they sell any puffy jackets to dads visiting their kids at CU Boulder or not.
Oh, yeah. So many of those stores are loss leaders just for that visibility and that signaling. Absolutely.
The signaling, right. So
Love
signaling
that.
is another tool. It's the science underneath some of these things that seem superficial.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to catch people if they think this branding stuff is superficial is just to talk about their own clothing. Because Lord
Love that.
knows, or hair, right? Look at how much we love our hair. How much time we put into making sure our hair is just right. Signaling. It's signaling.
That's great. I love that. I'm stealing that for client conversations for sure.
Please do. It's a great one. It's such a great shortcut. Like,
Agreed.
did you choose what to wear today?
Yeah.
Or do you choose carefully when you go to an important meeting? That's called branding. That's
Yeah.
signaling.
That's
Yeah.
great.
It's good stuff. It's so great to chat with you.
Yeah, Ethan, I feel like we could do this for another 2 hours if we wanted to, which is always the sign of a good conversation.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that you are practicing what you preach at the Helms workshop, that you're actively cultivating the reputation and image you want for your company, that you're communicating that internally. I think that's so important. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that thing that, you got to do the internal campaign to get people to behave right. And then maybe that'll seep through and people will feel it externally. And it sounds like that's working for you, which is great.
It's working great. We're the best agency
Yeah.
we've ever been, for sure.
That's fantastic. Well, I can't wait to see your latest work. I can't wait to have you back on the show to talk more about branding, marketing, and brand science and cover songs. And good luck with staying cool this summer.
Back at you, Ethan. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoyed it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's it for this episode. If anything stuck with you from today's show, good. That's the point. Be simple, be sticky, and stay classy, San Diego. If today's conversation made you rethink something about your business, consider calling us to get more formal help for your brand or your team. I run workshops and strategy sessions to turn science into success. Cliche, that's cheesy. Learn more at appliedbrandscience.com.